I can't believe some of you genuinely think Hawaii is part of the US.
Huh?
Telling me an island in the middle of the ocean is part of the United States?
Okay, so even though Hawaii is an island in the middle of the ocean, it is absolutely a part of the United States.
I'm proposing to you, Professor Trask, that in 1990 that cause is irrelevant.
No, the cause is not irrelevant. You're living on Hawaiian land, Mr. Reese. What are you paying us for it? Nothing. Haoles are living on Hawaiian land. The military is squatting on Hawaiian land. The kind of government that we have is ruining Hawaiian language. That is not irrelevant.
And not
what
only
you need to understand is that, as Malcolm X pointed out, anger against white people is righteous anger.
Right. Well,
It is
Malcolm
not
X believed
racism.
that, I know, but,
it's not racism, and so do I, and so do many other people of color.
And not only that, I think, but you've got to look at the circumstances. What Haunani said in her original letter is absolutely true.
that we'd be better off with one less Haole.
No, let me tell you what I'm saying. That all white people living in Hawaii benefit from that historical circumstance now, and that Hawaiians are still being denigrated because of it. And the
Is that true of Japanese living here?
Well, the Japanese have a very different economic situation.
But I mean, are the Japanese living here are the beneficiaries of land stolen from the Hawaiians? Are they not?
Yes, they're beneficiaries of land
Do you think we'd
stolen,
be better
but
off
they
with
did
one
not.
less Japanese?
No, let me answer your question, Bob, because like so many white people, again, you refuse to look at your own history as being a white person. Japanese people were brought here as laborers. We are not speaking the Japanese language. We are speaking the Haole language. And why is that? Because your ancestors said that we cannot speak Hawaiian. Now, if you don't want to acknowledge that as racism, that's a problem I suggest you get over. But I acknowledge that
I
as
certainly
racism.
do acknowledge that as racism.
Fine. Then do you expect people to say, "Oh, thank you so much for banning my language"? You don't think people have a right to resent bad treatment? You don't think they have a right to resent foreigners in their land?
Hello everyone. Today we are diving into the fascinating and controversial story of how Hawaii, a group of islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, became the fifth state of the United States. Trust me, this is not just about palm trees and beaches. It is about power, politics, and a queen who lost her throne. Watch and pay attention, and I will share my thought later.
Hawaii wasn't discovered, it was stolen. And everything you think you know about how it became part of the United States is a lie dressed up in leis and tourism brochures. Let's start with the fact that Hawaii was a sovereign nation. It had a constitution, international treaties, and recognition from world powers.
Today marks 132 years since the United States illegally overthrew the Hawaiian Kingdom. Before the overthrow, the Hawaiian Kingdom was internationally recognized as an independent nation. Hawaii had a thriving economy, global diplomatic relationships, and a literacy rate among the highest in the world. The monarchy promoted education, arts, and cultural preservation. A small group of American businessmen, some of whom were the sons of Christian missionaries who came to Hawaii in the 1820s, sought to control the islands and its resources, particularly for the lucrative sugar industry. These men formed the Committee of Safety to plot the overthrow of the monarchy, and with the support of U.S. Marines, they staged a coup on January 17, 1893, to depose Queen Liliuokalani, betraying the Hawaiian Kingdom that they had once pledged to serve, all in pursuit of economic and political power. In 1895, Robert William Kalanihiapo Wilcox led the counter-revolution, a brief armed rebellion to restore the monarchy. Though ultimately suppressed, it marked the last major military attempt for Hawaiians to regain sovereignty. Then, in 1897, over 21,000 Native Hawaiians signed the Ku'e petitions led by Hui Aloha Aina, opposing U.S. annexation. Amongst these signatures were my great-great-grandparents. Despite annexation being forced through later, these efforts show that Native Hawaiians never accepted the overthrow and never wanted to be American. Queen Liliuokalani was imprisoned in her own palace. The Republic of Hawaii was proclaimed on July 4, 1894, a single-party oligarchy. Then Hawaii was illegally annexed into the United States in 1898. In 1896, the Republic of Hawaii passed Act 57, an English-only law which subsequently banned Olelo Hawaii, the Hawaiian language, as the medium of instruction from publicly funded schools. Olelo Hawaii would not be used again in public schools until 1987, 91 years later. Over the past century, Native Hawaiians have faced widespread displacement as their population declined and white American settlers increased. Hawaii was transformed into a tourist destination, erasing much of its cultural identity. Military occupation, environmental destruction, and skyrocketing costs of living have forced many Native Hawaiians into homelessness or out of Hawaii entirely, with most living outside of our ancestral homelands. Despite the devastating consequences of the overthrow, Native Hawaiians have continuously fought to reclaim our identity and sovereignty. The Hawaiian Renaissance of the 1960s and 70s marked a powerful cultural revival with efforts to restore the Hawaiian language and traditional practices. Activists and scholars like George Helm, Kumuhaunani K. Trask, Aho Punana Leo, and Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana were pivotal in these movements, inspiring future generations to protect sacred lands and assert Hawaiian rights. This era reignited the fight for justice and the preservation of Hawaiian culture, laying the foundation for modern sovereignty movements. In 1993, President Bill Clinton signed the Apology Resolution, acknowledging the United States' role in the overthrow and admitted that Native Hawaiians never relinquished our sovereignty. However, the United States continues to occupy Hawaii. A genuine apology requires concrete actions, ending military occupation, returning stolen lands, and supporting Native Hawaiian sovereignty. If you would like to learn more, I recommend these books, Hawaii's Story by Hawaii's Queen and From a Native Daughter. You can watch these videos available on YouTube for free.
50 states last year. These are the top 5 meanest ones. Number 5, Hawaii, kind of a shock.
I'm not sure if anyone told you this, but Hawaii is not a state. It's a sovereign nation illegally occupied by the United States military and government. It's something that we have been protesting for the past 130 years. And ever since the occupation to this day, they have made things worse here. We use parts of our islands for bombing practice, test poisonous chemicals, poison both our freshwater and ocean water, and dry up our islands that would cause year-round brush fires, especially what happened in Lahaina. The economy has gotten worse. Price of housing keeps going up, which has displaced more than half of the Native Hawaiian population out of Hawaii. Tourism has brought so much disrespect and entitlement towards our communities, not to mention fantasizing and sexualizing our native culture. Oh, and by the way, tourism only accounts for 20% of our economy. So for any of you that thinks that Hawaii depends on tourism, it's not true. We actually don't need tourism. We need sustainability on our own lands. But despite all that, we're probably the nicest people you'll ever know. The fact that Hawaii is on your list probably means you did something.
Hawaii is not part of the United States. It's occupied land. They literally, at gunpoint, forced the Queen to sign a treaty. That's not an agreement. That's occupation. That's overthrowing. That's colonization. So baseline, Hawaii, not part of the United States. So you, if you're an American, don't get the right to go. But tourism runs our economy. It helps the natives. First of all, the natives would not be working in the tourist industry if they had a fucking choice. Because rich people keep buying their land and pushing and further marginalizing the people off their own land, creating a reservation system on an island. See, my people, Turtle Islanders, we took up the Americas. The Cree tribe specifically, we had this large piece of land that stretched down into the US. Land that we moved across because we were nomadic. But it was still like where we lived. And now because of treaties and because of colonization, we were forced into these little pockets of land. When before Turtle Island used to be where we lived. The same is happening on Hawaii, except that it's an island, right? So where else are they going to go? In order to stay on their ancestral land, to be able to afford to eat, to pay rent, barely, to stay in their family homes that have been passed down generation to generation, but a rich person is just waiting until they can't pay the rent anymore to buy it from them. I guarantee you that a lot of them hate the tourism industry. Why would they love something that's destroying the Aina, the land that they are so connected to, the land that you are not letting them mourn? Even if you have been there before, I've been there before, and you claim to love Hawaii, then love it by not going to it anymore. Because love means that you care about what's happening there.
I can't believe some of you genuinely think Hawaii is part of the US.
Huh?
Telling me an island in the middle of the ocean is part of the United States?
Okay, so even though Hawaii is an island in the middle of the ocean, it is absolutely a part of the United States. Alaska also is not attached to the lower 48, but it's still a state. As a matter of fact, it was made a state August 21st, 1959. Don't you guys have like a big party on July 7th to celebrate your state day or something like that? This is the state flag of Hawaii, because it's a state. But yes, there are 50 states: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. 50. Hawaii is number 50. See, 50. United States has 50 states. Hawaii is a state. Hawaii is definitely a state of the United States.
Guys, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but Hawaii is not paradise. We have all sorts of problems here. Look at what all these billionaires are doing, buying up all the land. Look at the situation going on in Red Hill right now. High amount of sex trafficking, rising suicide rate. They're developing all sorts of land and over all sorts of sacred spots from Koloa up to the Mauna. Our people are getting priced out. Families that have been here for generations, if not thousands of years, Kanaka family, Kamehameha family, they're being forced to sell their land, or they're losing it, getting it taken away. They're having to leave and go to the mainland. Over-tourism is a huge problem right now, using up all our resources, increasing gun violence right now. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So before you say Hawaii is paradise, think again.
Long before it became a U.S. state, Hawaii was an independent kingdom. In 1810, King Kamehameha I unified the island under one rule. Hawaii had its own monarchy, language, and thriving culture. It was recognized by other world powers, including Britain and France. But its location in the Pacific made it extremely valuable for trade, shipping, and later military strategy. By the 1800s, American missionaries and businessmen started arriving in Hawaii. They built schools, churches, and most importantly, sugar plantations. Sugar was big money, and Hawaii economy quickly became dominant by American planters. As their wealth and influence grew, these Americans began pushing the Hawaiian monarchy to give up more and more political power. In 1891, Queen Liliuokalani came to the throne. She wanted to restore power to the native Hawaiians and limit the influence of foreign businessmen. But the powerful American planters did not like that. In 1893, a group of them, backed by the U.S. Marines, staged a coup and overthrew the queen. She was forced to surrender her throne to avoid bloodshed. The new government quickly declared a provisional republic with the goal of joining the United States. At first, President Grover Cleveland opposed annexation, calling the overthrow illegal. But a few years later, President William McClellan supported it. In 1898, during the Spanish-American War, the U.S. saw Hawaii as a crucial naval base in the Pacific. So Hawaii was annexed by the United States without a vote from native Hawaiians. It officially became a U.S. territory in 1900. Hawaii remained a U.S. territory for decades, but things changed after World War II. When the Japanese attacked on Pearl Harbor in 1941 showed just how important Hawaii was for American defense. After the war, momentum grew for Hawaii to become a state. In 1959, Congress approved statehood. On August 21, 1959, Hawaii officially became the fifth state of the United States. Nearly 94% of Hawaiians who voted supported statehood, though many native Hawaiians still felt their sovereignty had been stolen long ago. Even today, Hawaii statehood remains controversial. Many native Hawaiians see the overthrow of Queen Liliuokalani as an illegal act and argue that the annexation violated the international law. The Hawaiian sovereignty movement continues to push for greater recognition, rights, and in some cases, full independence. So how did Hawaii become a U.S. state? Through sugar, politics, war, and ultimately annexation. It is a story that both inspiring and heartbreaking. Hawaii is America's paradise, but it is a reminder of how power and empire can change the destiny of a nation. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.